DeepSeek was going to be the end of CAPEX, the end of NVIDIA, and we were going to be running all AI on the smallest GPUs that were 10 years old because DeepSeek pulled out a miracle, invested $5 million in this model. What's going on? What's going on with CapEx of the Mag 7?
They invested $5 million and came up with better products and solutions than hundreds of billions of CapEx.
Totally unbelievable.
Now we've had 6 of the Mag 7 report, and the biggest of the big hyperscalers have all come out: Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, all north of $65 billion of intended CapEx spend. And guess what? They're going to spend most of it on GPUs and AI infrastructure. So while all of us were spinning our heads around and doing media hits and talking endlessly about the world ending and DeepSeek being the eradication of all things AI and that the bubble was about to burst, every major CEO of major Mag 7 company right now is basically saying, we're full throttle on spending, even as they continue to report, and you heard our shows over the last few weeks, that the growth and the ability to articulate the consumption number is not actually proportionally growing nearly as fast as the CapEx is growing. Why? Because we genuinely still believe that we're very early in this workload. And I think when you hear numbers of inference being 20 times, I'm seeing things that could say it's thousands of times in orders of magnitude larger workload. And so in order to support that, the investment has to be made. So whether it's been Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, all of them are going to continue to spend. In fact, there was some interesting research you shared with me, and it's been kicking around about kind of what this means in GPUs and XPUs. And, I think there's just this big problem in the market right now of people not being able to sort of think about two things at the same time. So there's, the two considerations at the same time that are going on is, one is there are going to be aggressive work. There is going to be aggressive work done by research, by technology companies, by labs, by software to figure out how to more efficiently deliver AI. I shared a post the other day with IBM about Granite and how they're delivering 4 to 6% better performance on specific workload using Granite and Instruct Lab against GPT and Llama, and doing it at 75 to 96% or 94% lower cost. This is where we want to go. But the point isn't that once we do that, it's like we're going to keep and use the same amount of compute. The point is once we figure out how to do that, the compute is going to be exponential by many orders of magnitude. And so the idea is, yes, more efficient models. Yes, a narrower, smaller language, containers, specialized services, software. But we're going to do both. And then on top of that, Pat, I think we're going to augment that, the NVIDIA leading edge, most performant, lowest number of GPUs to do a certain type of training or inference workload will continue to be rolled out for that purpose of advancing the AI future. At the same time, companies like Meta, you're hearing more about them building their own chips. Google's doing it with TPU and is doing it with ARM off the shelf. Amazon's been doing it for years with Trainium and now Trainium 2, and Microsoft as well. They're going to continue to build ASICs, and we put out some research through Signal about Intel Gaudi. They're going to put out an ASIC, and they're going to eventually build a GPU. AMD is going to continue to invest and build Instinct because we're going to need more compute. The kind of weird zero-sum thing that's happening, I'm going to end here, the zero-sum thing that's happening, that the idea is that as we get more efficient in being able to deliver AI, that we are going to have some finite utilization of compute is the most, it's embarrassingly misunderstood by people who should know better. And as they know better, it's like we have barely even started to scratch the surface for how we will utilize AI. And so the need for more efficient compute and different architectures and scale, it's not the end of NVIDIA, people, but it also means there is a broadening out and a rounding out and opportunity for a number of other companies to participate to support a much bigger set of workloads. And CapEx will keep roaring, and the AI trade is far from over.
I don't even know if I've got anything to add other than I'm going to do a victory lap. It was good. I'm just going to do a victory lap, which was when DeepSeek hit. Well, actually, I'm going to do an extended victory lap. Every time that I get on broadcast, anytime I get asked, when does this gravy train slow? This was pre-DeepSeek. I said essentially when we hit AGI, and that inference is on every single endpoint on the planet. Okay. and on the edge. And until we get there, it's, this gravy train is going to go. And then a more pragmatic version of that, how long will the NVIDIA train go? It's at least a 2-year run. And I feel pretty comfortable in that. Maybe it's 18 months now when I started talking about that. But, when DeepSeek hit, I had the same, a couple people don't understand is that this new version of AI doesn't requires more than these very narrow, like L40s that NVIDIA put out. Latency is paramount, and you just can't get that latency with a trimmed down GPU. So, yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see this train slowing until we hit AGI everywhere. Training, pre-training, inference, in phones, in PCs, on the industrial edge, and there we go. It's tough winning all the time, Dan. That everybody just expects you to, just call it right every single time. Which, by the way,
tired of being right.
Yeah, I do want to share, though, out of the other side of mouth, I did have a major miss. I did think at the second half of 2024, we would see a big spike in PCs and smartphones. I made two very big mistakes. The first one was I didn't expect Microsoft to slip its schedule for its premier AI feature in Windows by 9 to 10 months. Okay, it's supposed to be out in May. It's still not out. I mean, it's freaking February, and that thing is sitting in the Windows Insider. I think it's great. And the second thing I didn't consider was just how horrible Apple would be on their AI and where they are now. I mean, it's a freaking laughing stock. I mean, the big advertising is on emojis, which is just completely ridiculous. I do think that every once in a while their email summaries are interesting, but maybe it has a 50% hit rate. The summary of the notifications, and even though Samsung, that is a vastly improved and superior phone AI, doesn't have the market impact of what Apple can bring to get end consumers excited about it. And by the way, if you've got a new S25, man, that generative fill is unbelievable. Try it out.